Welcome to this presentation for the I-39-90-94 corridor study. This presentation will focus on taking a closer look at the remaining alternatives for the US 151 High Crossing Boulevard interchange area. Let's take a look at the remaining alternatives for US 151. This would be a directional interchange. The primary movements to and from the freeway portion of US 151 are free-flow ramps that will be much closer to freeway speeds than the existing cloverleaf ramps. There's also an embedded diamond interchange that services East Washington Avenue and a half diamond interchange that services High Crossing Boulevard. This alternative moves the US 151 interchange at Nelson Road American Parkway to an extension of East Park Boulevard to create a greater distance between that interchange and the interstate interchange. Overall, this alternative addresses travel demands better than other alternatives and has a relatively low environmental impact compared to other alternatives. This alternative is showing a possible pedestrian and/or bicycle path along US 151. Accommodations are intended to be installed as shown in blue, pending community agreement, final design considerations, and the ability to acquire real estate. We'd like your input on interchange type at both the I-39-90-94 and US 151 Diamond Interchange and the US 151 and East Park Boulevard Interchange. At I-39-90-94 and US 151, we are performing an intersection control evaluation between a standard diamond interchange with signals at the ramp terminals or a single-point urban interchange or SPUI. The image shown here is for the standard diamond with signals. And here is the alternative with the SPUI. All traffic is controlled by a single set of traffic signals located in the center of the intersection. A SPUI is currently in place at the Verona Road interchange with the Beltline in Madison. More information on SPUIs can be found on WisDOT's website. Next, we'll move to the US 151 interchange with the reconfigured Nelson Road interchange, which would be moved to East Park Boulevard. Here, we'd like your feedback on a preference between signals or roundabouts. We will now look at how to navigate the US 151 interchange area. We're going to start with traffic traveling to US 151 interchange from the south on I-39-90-94. If you had decided to stay right to exit to US 151 in red, you'd get another decision point where you could either stay to the left for mainline US 151 traveling towards Sun Prairie, shown in purple, or exit to the US 151 Collector Distributor Road, shown in pink, so you could access the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard exit, shown in yellow. If you did need to access US 151 after taking the exit to the Collector Distributor Roads, you could also merge back onto US 151 at this point as well, shown in orange. Now let's take a look at traveling in the other direction. If you're traveling southbound on US 151, your decision point occurs northeast of the new Nelson Road East Park Boulevard interchange. If you're looking to continue southbound along US 151 to East Washington Avenue, you'll actually exit prior to the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard exit, shown in yellow. This Collector Distributor Road then picks up additional traffic from the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard interchange, seen in blue, before continuing on to the East Washington Avenue interchange with I-39-90-94. If you're looking to access I-39-90-94 or the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard interchange, you'd stay to the left, shown in red. The exit to Nelson Road East Park Boulevard is shown here in green. All traffic looking to access I-39-90-94 would once again stay to the left and continue until a diverge point at the I-39-90-94 and US 151 interchange. Traffic looking to travel south would stay to the left, shown in purple, and all traffic looking to travel north would stay to the right, shown in orange. Next, I'll cover how traffic using East Washington Avenue would use this interchange. If you're traveling northbound on East Washington, shown in purple, you can use the embedded diamond interchange to access I-39-90-94. Here you can see southbound I-39-90-94 traffic in red and northbound I-39-90-94 traffic in orange. If rather than accessing the interstate, you'd prefer to travel through the interchange, you'd simply stay on the US 151 Collector Distributor Road as shown in yellow. There will be a decision point as you approach the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard exit, where you can take the ramp to Nelson Road East Park Boulevard, shown in blue, or merge onto mainline US 151, shown in green, which will take you towards Sun Prairie. Finally, let's cover traffic traveling southbound on I-39-90-94. Before I go through any of the movements, I want to note that should the Hepker Road interchange be constructed, that would likely provide better access from the north to certain areas that currently utilize US 151. With that said, anyone traveling on southbound I-39-90-94, shown in purple, wanting to use the US 151 interchange, will get off the freeway at the same location, shown here in blue. There will then be a decision point where those wanting to access East Washington Avenue or the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard exit would exit to the right, shown in red, while traffic wanting to travel north of the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard would stay left and use a new free-flow ramp to the freeway portion of US 151, shown in yellow. Going back to those who exited to the East Washington Avenue or Nelson Road East Park Boulevard, I'll start at the end of the red path. Those wanting to use East Washington Avenue can turn right directly onto East Washington Avenue, shown in green. Anyone wanting to access the Nelson Road East Park Boulevard area would turn left at the signal and continue along the US 151 Collector-Distributor Road to access the ramp to Nelson Road East Park Boulevard, shown in orange. We encourage your input at any time through the project's website or by reaching out to the project manager, David Schmidt, via phone or email. Should you or anyone you know have questions or like additional information regarding this study, you may reach out via any of these options. You can also scan these QR codes to get to the study webpage or our recent PIM materials. Thanks so much for watching this presentation.